Hello, parents. Welcome to Advanced Research Oceanography class. It's a pilot class this year, and I'm going to share my screen with you, kind of go over some of the attributes of the course. Once again, it's a pilot course, which means that we took students from one block that had research experience, and we want to work with them on some of the concepts in terms of oceanography and some of the advancements in oceanography. And one of the things I share with the students today in class was a little bit of the roadmap to mates. And I'm telling them that their life is going to be, a roadmap in general, depending on what career they get into and what they do. And mine started out at Monmouth University, actually it was Monmouth College. Those of you remember that. And that was back in the 1980s. Doesn't seem that long ago. But I ended up getting a biology Bachelor of Science degree. Then I started to work in the field a little bit on some environmental initiatives and went for a master's in teaching because people thought I would be into teaching. My friends always said I should get into education. And I was taking courses at Rutgers, taking courses at Monmouth. And then I also started my job here at Mates in the fall of 1994, but we weren't Mates. We were the Marine and Environmental Science program of the Ocean County Vocational Technical School. And that led to me being here, taking more courses with Rutgers. I really thought that I wanted to get into science education and work on a higher degree there. And I also were taking aquatics courses, marine science courses through Rutgers at the graduate level. Hoping that I could actually start working with river otter, which I started to do, but there was no one at Rutgers that really wanted to kind of work with river otter. At the same point, I started working with terrapins, and I didn't find anybody at Rutgers that was working with terrapins. And then fate had it, I ended up contacting somebody or working with somebody, and they were affiliated with Drexel, and they were a research scientist actually with Drexel. And he said, hey, why don't you come over here and start doing some of your work with us in terms of terrapins. And I went over and put some time in at Drexel, and it was a great experience. And I ended up, taking that, and we had Project Terrapin, and a lot of initiatives came from that. And I share this because not so much my journey, but everybody has a journey, and the students are starting their journey here at Mates. And next year they're going to be at a college, university, starting on their path to forming their career. So I always like to share that. And in the course, I definitely want to emphasize some of the college strategies. So one of the things that we work with is a detailed syllabus, and that's available to you. If you go on the Blackboard site, you go into the instructors page, you can click into my name and you'll see a bulletin board setup where I'll have handouts and my own site, and I have everything with the syllabus for the course that gives you a detailed look at where we're going to be over the time. We try to use it as a map. Sometimes we're ahead of it, sometimes we're behind it, but it just gives the students something that they can plan as they move through. It's a tough year, and with COVID and everything else going on, it makes it even more challenging. We're going to be integrating research into the field. We're also going to be practicing socially distancing for all our activities. We're going to keep that hands-on aspect. All of the students are in a hybrid model in the class, which means they're coming in on A and B days, depending on their last names. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ensure that we're distanced, because we're going to be in the research room. We're working in room 158. That is a larger room, and we only have no more than 6 students in the room at one time. And the course itself will have no more than 10 students. And we sanitize regularly, but more significantly, when we do labs, we'll have enough material that each of the students will be able to conduct a lab on their own. And that helps to keep with our distancing protocols. The other thing that we're going to emphasize in this course is field writing or scientific writing. That's a big part of what we do. And I want to make sure that we build those skills up in the students. So this group of students that I'm working with have participated in research venues outside of Mates. And we want to expand their knowledge of the research process, but also how to write and share their information. And one of the things we're going to do for one of the write-ups, probably the last write-up I have written here, is going to be putting it into like a manuscript format. So I'm going to take at random some journals that are in the field, and if you were to submit a publication or something for publication to them, we're going to use that manuscript format so they get used to doing that. And that'll be helpful to them in the future if they have to go through grants or anything else like that. It gives them that skill. And we're also going to have projects and working with students. A lot of this will be, some virtual, projects they can work on their own, tying into some topics, but all of the students will work on some sort of a research project in the course. And we're also looking to network with local scientists and some former graduates. So I had touch base with some of those that are working in the field. Some of those are conducting research. We're going to bring them in because we have these virtual platforms now. We could bring them in via Zoom or Wnek or whatever else. I am running the course more synchronous so that when the students are at home, they can log in, and I have it set up via Zoom where they can see what's going on in the class, and I could share screens and so forth, much like I'm doing here. And it just keeps the students engaged so that we're not missing days. Some of the days, I'll have them work on something where they could sign off earlier, and I could focus on the lab, especially with the students that are there. And then the next day, the other students come in and we could do the same thing. So why I chose this background, what I mean by not the field that I'm studying, I'm talking about the visible background on the screen. It's hard to see this one, but if you go back to the first slide, it's Cedar Run Dock Road, which is in Stafford Township. It's a roadway that floods. It's also a road that I do research on, and I monitor nesting diamondback terrapins. And we've been getting more and more flooding events on that roadway and across areas of Barnegat Bay on some of these mainland shoreline areas and Back Bay areas that we're seeing flooding on, like the Barrier Islands. And that kind of leads us to, like, why is this happening? What's going on in terms of the factors leading to higher water levels, stronger storms. And those are things that we talk about in this course. We just finished up meteorology that emphasized how storms form. And this roadway is a challenge because one of the things that I'm working on is trying to maintain habitat and improve habitat for nesting terrapins and shorebirds that utilize the marsh in some of the higher areas along the roadway. So that's something that we have to kind of be aware of as time moves on, because we're going to see more of these events in more areas. And this course kind of brings out like how we're determining these in a scientific way, and then how can we address some of these. So I want to bring that topic, Barnegat Bay, and especially our coastal oceanic area here with the Atlantic Ocean gets brought into the course. It fits in very well. And I'm looking forward to a great year. We have a great group of students, and we're going to try to make this as normal an experience as we can based upon our new normal. So if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. I'm always accessible, and have a great year. And I hope to see you in the future in person. Stay well.